In April of 1952, Watchman was ordered by the Communist Chinese government to go to Manchuria. There he was arrested by the Department of Public Safety on the 10th of April. He was kept imprisoned in Harbin. No one knew what had happened to him, for the government kept everything secret. Between 1952 and 1956, the government quietly prepared materials for his prosecution. On the 18th of January, 1956, the Religious Affairs Bureau called a series of meetings in the Church Assembly Hall at Nanyang Road, Shanghai. The whole congregation was required to be present. A list of criminal charges was brought against Watchman and his fellow workers. The first official announcement of his arrest was printed in the People's Liberation Daily, Shanghai, on the 1st of February. On the 21st of June, 1956, Watchman appeared before the High Court in Shanghai and was found guilty of all charges. He was given the maximum sentence of 15 years imprisonment, running from the 12th of April, 1952. He was to serve his sentence in the first municipal prison in Shanghai. There he was assigned to translate scientific textbooks and journal articles from English into Chinese for government use. His wife Charity was permitted to visit him once a month under supervision. By April 1967, he had served his 15 years, but he was not released. The authorities had attempted to force him to renounce his faith. Rumors had already been circulated that Watchman had given up his faith, but the Lord was dearer to him than his freedom, and thus his sentence was extended another 5 years. He was secretly transferred from the municipal prison to Tsingtong Labor Farm in Singpo County, a suburb of Shanghai. His wife was able to visit him there once. Then, suddenly, for several months, there was no news of him. As a matter of fact, in January of 1970, Watchman was transferred to a stricter labor camp called White Mao Mountain Farm in far-off Quangtai County, Anhui Province. Unfortunately, his beloved wife, Charity, having suffered a fall, passed away in late September 1971. This was a serious blow to Watchman, but he received it with resignation. He had long harbored a secret wish to be reunited with his wife after serving the entire 20 years. It was told that he once said to a fellow prisoner, "My term of imprisonment and my wife's life are racing against each other. If I can be released while she is still living, I will take good care of her, for she has suffered much for me." His intense feeling of loss was nonetheless expressed in a letter he wrote to his sister-in-law, in which he said he was so broken-hearted that he experienced a sorrow deeper than that of losing his parents. He asked that a pinch of his wife's hair and the face towel she used be brought to him as a memorial for remembrance. On the 12th of April, 1972, he completed his 20-year prison term. There was expectation that he would be released, but nothing was heard. It was understood that the government had insisted that a written confession from him would be the condition for his release. He refused to comply, and hence he was kept in the labor camp. On the 22nd of April, he wrote to his sister-in-law what proved to be his last letter. Elder Sister Ping Tsing, I have received your letter of the 7th of April, and learned from it that you have not received mine, which acknowledged the receipt of each parcel you sent me. All the things you mentioned in your letter I have received. I am most grateful to you. You know my physical condition. It is a chronic disease, an organic disease. When attacks come, they are most painful. At times of recession, the disease is still with me. The difference is in the degree of activity, not in the sense of recovery. The summer has arrived. More exposure to sunlight may change a little the color of the skin, but it cannot affect the illness. However, please do not worry, because I maintain my joy. I hope you will also take good care of yourself. May your heart be filled with joy. Wishing you well, Shutsu, April 22nd. The chronic disease to which the ailing Watchman referred was a severe case of heart disease. For several decades, he had suffered enlargement of his heart. It was said to have doubled its original size. The doctor had told him he might drop dead at any time. He could not lift any weight. Many nights he would sit through till dawn because he could not lie down. The Lord had healed his tuberculosis miraculously and instantaneously, but his heart disease was never cured. Watchman himself once testified that in the healing of his tuberculosis, he had experienced the healing of the Lord, but in the case of his heart disease, he knew the Lord as the healer. He lived daily by the resurrection life of the Lord. Indeed, it was nothing short of a miracle that he was able to live through the 20 years of hard imprisonment. The Lord's life and the prayers of the saints must have sustained him. For unknown reasons, in May of 1972, the 68-year-old Watchman was removed from his original lodging on White Mao Mountain to another place at the foot of the mountain, that is to say, from the collective prison camp to a private cell. He was said to have been transported by means of a tractor trailer, which ran over the rugged and crooked mountain path, whose distance extended some 13 miles. On the first day of June, 1972, while his sister-in-law was yet at Shanghai, she received a telegram from the White Mao Mountain Farm labor camp that simply read, "Watchman Nee died of sickness at the foot of the mountain." Immediately upon hearing this sad news, it was decided that Watchman's sister-in-law, Ping Tsing, his niece's husband, Sheng Wu, and his grandniece, Xiaoling Pao, would travel together to the labor camp. 2 days later, on the 3rd of June, the party of 3 arrived in Quangte County, but Sheng Wu was able to proceed further and to reach the labor camp at dusk of the same day. Having inquired about Watchman's death, Sheng Wu was told that, not having seen the prisoner come out of his room, shortly after 9 o'clock in the morning on the 30th of May, prison officials pushed open the door of his room and found Watchman Nee on the bed, barely breathing. Immediately, they asked the camp's hygiene officer to examine him. Realizing the seriousness of his situation, they sent Watchman to the clinic of the labor camp by car. All efforts there to rescue him failed, and the stricken Watchman died at 2 a.m. on the 31st of May. Captain Lo of the Disciplinary Corps declared it to have been a suicide, for, he said, he had a suicide note as proof. Prison officials had found a note under the mattress near his pillow. When pressed for it by Sheng Wu, Captain Lo showed the note to him. It was truly in Watchman's handwriting, written in large letters on a page taken from a notebook. It read, "Christ is the Son of God, who died to atone for men's sins, and who rose on the 3rd day. This is the greatest fact in the universe. I believe in Christ and die." Signed, Watchman Nee. Upon his reading the note, Sheng Wu told Captain Lo that this was not a suicide note at all. Watchman had apparently had the premonition that due to his physical condition he would not live long, but he believed in the Christ he confessed, even unto death. Furthermore, did not the telegram itself say that Watchman had died of sickness? Naturally, Captain Lo did not understand the meaning of the words, "I believe in Christ and die." Captain Lo also reported to Sheng Wu that because of the heat, they had cremated Watchman's body without waiting for the arrival of his relatives. The next day, Ping Tsing and Xiaoling Pao both arrived at the labor camp. They were told the same story and were not allowed to enter Watchman's room to gather up things left behind. Later, permission was given to the party to go to the crematory to collect Watchman's ashes. It was not a real crematory, but a labor camp kiln, which served the dual purpose of producing bricks and cremating bodies. The 3 relatives found the person who a few days earlier had cremated Watchman's body and inquired of him about the condition of the body. Said the cremator, "It was a peaceful body, nothing abnormal at all." "Would you say it was like the body of anyone who had committed suicide?" they asked. He replied that he had cremated many corpses and could surely recognize among them those that had committed suicide, but that he was certain Watchman's death was not the case of suicide because his body appeared so peaceful and joyful and most normal. Indeed, Watchman Nee had kept his faith in Christ even unto death and had maintained his joy to the very end.